Hey y'all, welcome back. This is season 2, episode 6, and I'm T, aka Rose Red.
I'm Joy, aka Your Joyous Connection.
And I am Jazz, aka Jazz the Medium. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
Ladies, we're talking about something special today. Y'all want to share what we're talking about?
I'm coming back. Sorry, I had to put on Do Not Disturb. I just saw a message come through y'all, and I was like, "Whoa, hold up,
Hey,
1 second."
for those who out there
Sorry.
who don't know, our great sister Joy from a Joyous Connection has been mediuming since we started. Just to give you Jazz the Medium definition of what a when somebody is mediuming. That
Yeah.
means sometimes we're not always present in the presence and we tend to float off somewhere else. And I don't care. It could be mid conversation, it could be mid talking to your kids, it could be mid driving, mid in the shower, and people get mad at you and be like, "Did you hear anything I said?" And most of the time we pretend like we heard what you said and we just figure it out throughout the conversations. But most of the time we be lost because we done mediumed off somewhere.
All the way.
Medium. Every single person I know that is a medium does this. And my what I think happens is, and this is just my 2 cents, what I feel happens, I think we just kind of hover in between.
Mm-hmm.
We're not like present like most people are. We're just kind of in between, and that's where we kind of stay at. And sometimes we up here, and sometimes we down here, and sometimes we over here. It just we be medium.
Look, I wish I had something to keep. Look, I'm about to be writing so I can keep me here. Okay, because
You know
I
what I
about
used
went
to
off
do?
again.
I used to get like a piece of paper and a pen, and while somebody talked to me, I'll do like this,
Mm.
or I'll tap my leg, or sometimes I'll pull my ear. You might see me doing that, or I'll move from side to side. I know if y'all watch some of our videos and it look like I got ADHD, I'm just trying to stay present because I'll
Mm.
float off. Look at her. She always jittering around and moving around. If I sit still, I'm gonna lose y'all. I'm gonna go somewhere. So,
Well, technically speaking, we do be floating around. We just be in between dimensions. I mean, that's it.
but most, I hate to use the word, but I'm a Potter fan. Most mundanes, they don't understand that. They
Mm.
think that you're being rude and you're not listening to them.
You right.
Yeah.
Especially when it be happening to me at work, and I be like, "Huh? What you just said?"
I remember when my boss, when she interviewed me, she said, "What is your weakness?" I said, "Meetings," because I'm not going to hear anything you guys say. I'm going to float off meetings. So whenever we have a meeting, my boss will like, "You don't have to write this stuff down." And look, if I don't write this stuff down and move while we
Mm.
talking, I'm going to be gone. I'm not going to
It's
know what to do.
gone.
Meetings. I hate them.
I had a meet today at work. Speaking of that, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, "Hold up, come on, let me bring it back and try to remember the last thing." It's
If
been all day. Okay.
if my boss would be like, "Jasper, are you paying attention?" I would like, "Yeah," but she could tell when I'm lying. I don't lie very well. Medium.
Yeah,
Medium.
we be off in the
That's,
fifth dimension some damn way, but we always come back.
we always come back. We ain't going very far. Now, if we don't
Hmm.
come back, that might be another issue.
Yeah, that's a conversation
Like,
for another day. Hmm.
we might need like a mental health specialist or something. Somebody to bring us back.
Hmm. That is
I'm
facts.
telling you, it happens. They just
Hmm.
drift off and they don't come back.
Yeah,
Oh.
you gotta
Hmm.
validate.
I used to work at this place. It was like a vent unit. Everybody was on vent, and some of the patients
Mm-mm.
they were like comatose. They were like they didn't do nothing. Their eyes would be open. They'll move their eyes every once in a while, but they'll just sit there with their eyes open, or they'll close them when they sleep. But their energy be so at peace. I just know they're not in there. I'm like, where y'all at? Cause y'all
Mhm.
somewhere else, having a good time, kicking it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Chilling on the beach.
That'll be
So I
there
always
right
wondered that where they be going. All right, so today we're going to talk about near death experiences, something that I am obsessed with. I have been obsessed with for years. So much so that I taught a class about it years ago and forgot that I taught a class about it. What do you know? I became interested in them when I had my own near death experience. Joy had a near death experience, and Rose Red had a very traumatic experience. And we all noticed that some of these experiences kind of ushered our gifts in.
Mhm.
So this is going to be our near death experience series. I'm going to do the PowerPoint, and we're going to talk about what a near death experience is, what the definition is, and stuff like that. We're going to talk about that. And then after we're done with the PowerPoint, we're going to share our own personal experiences. And within the following coming weeks, we're going to have some special guests come on with us and tell us about their experiences. So, for everybody out there that is watching right now, if you have had a near death experience, please let us know because we would like to have this segment along with, we're still going to have all the other ones giving readings and stuff like that, but we want this to be a continuous segment where people come on and they share their experiences, what happened during and after. All
Mhm.
right. So, I'm going to share my screen here, get in teacher mode.
Well, do you want to
Just
first
you forgot to
share
say
how we
how
got
we
here?
how this came
Oh,
about.
yeah. You need to first share
Oh,
how we got here.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So one night I could not sleep. I could not sleep to save my life. I felt like my head was just going woo, woo, woo. And I kept receiving downloads. And I remember I went in the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie to you, I just sat on the toilet, not being too personal. And I'm just like, what are you trying to tell me? What am I supposed to do? And it came to me that it was time to talk about near death experiences. So I was like, all right. And then I felt like this was the place I was supposed to share it on. So I think what was it like maybe 2 days later, I talked to you, Joy.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the phone with them and they verified that the same exact thing had come to them. Like maybe we should talk about near death experiences. But that's not it. Our first guest that's coming on out the blue inboxed me and says, I was talking to God. God told me that I needed to talk about my near death experience. And God told me that I need to talk to you about my near death experience. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I knew, like, okay, I've been reading about, watching videos about, talking about near death experiences for so many years. Now it's time for us to talk about them. And this is how we got here.
The definition of alignment.
Alignment.
All the way. Mm-hmm.
Can y'all
Mm-hmm.
share how like it came to y'all or what made y'all think of it?
So with me, I don't know. I think I was sitting and it had kind of been heavy on me for like a couple of days. Like, are we gonna get into near death experiences? I know we talked about it before. I should probably bring it up, but I didn't want to bring it up because I don't be wanting to push stuff. But it had been heavy on me for a couple of days. Like, and it would be where I would be sitting in the bed, not doing nothing, or playing my little game on my phone that I'd be playing. I'd be like, we should talk about near death experiences. Hey, we supposed to talk about that? That's how I started coming. It was like 3 consecutive days back to back. And then jazz. Chat. I was like, this has been heavy on me.
Mm-hmm.
So, hmm
So it is time. All right, ladies, let me share my screen so we can get started. Now bear with me and be patient with me, y'all, because I'll be doing this all the time. All right, ladies, can you see the screen?
Yes.
yeah.
All right, thank you. All right. Proof of near death experiences. Proof of near death experiences. They date all the way back to the ancient times, written on stone walls of caves. I saw some of that, and one of the earliest documentations written in a book form came 1740. It was a book written by forgive me if I butcher this name, but Pierre Jean du Monchot. And the book was called Antidotes de Medicine. And in that book, he talks about near death experience. But they do date back to ancient times. So, what is a near death experience? Well, according to Merriam Webster, a near death experience is an experience in which a person comes very close to dying and has memories of a spiritual experience, such as like meeting dead friends and family members, or seeing white light, or seeing like gods or whoever you worship, or seeing all types of things. And these usually happen during the time that death was near. There are different types. There are fear, where someone has a terrifying experience. I had one about a man. I think the book is called 90 Minutes in Heaven, maybe. But this man, he was in a car accident and he was dead for like 90 minutes. I gotta find the book. If I do, I'll put it in the description. But he was dead. But before he went to a very scary and dark place, and then he went to heaven. Um, People may see plants and animals. Some people see a bright light. Some people see violence or persecution, or they feel like they went to hell or scary places like that. Some people it's like a deja vu. Some people see like family members and friends that passed away, and also some people like they recall past events, like post cardiac. And you might hear them say like, "Hey, when I was floating around the hospital room, I saw them operating on my body and stuff like that." So here are the stages. There's several stages. The first stage they say is that you leave your body, you come out of your body. Some people experience going through a tunnel. Um, Another stage is called visions of love, close encounters, and then you might have a life review. And some people even make it to the gate. An out of body experience is usually described as a sense of floating or peace. Some people report seeing their bodies. People after cardiac events have also reported seeing a medical team working on them. Now, when you go through the tunnel, people talk about it feeling like you're walking through a tunnel. For some people, it may be like a bridge or a cave or like a kaleidoscope. I've heard valleys. I've heard like doorways and stuff like that. There's usually a light at the far end. And I know that every recount that I've researched, there was a light at the far end of it. Love. Survivors often feel a strong sense of love and peace. Some may go to heavenly destinations, beautiful cities, landscapes, or places full of light. Visitations, they can be family members, pets, spirits, angels. Some people see extraterrestrials. They might see like Jesus or whoever they worship, God, or
Mhm.
different types of beings. Now, your life review, which everybody's heard of life review, and what happens is that you recall all of your life events. And events may be shown from a perspective of others, which means like if you hurt somebody's feelings, you might see it from their perspective. Or if you poured a lot of love on someone, you might see how they felt from your perspective. The mistakes that you made are reviewed, and choices that you made may be reviewed. And sometimes they'll show you what happens. I had a few people say like they showed her what happened had she not chosen her husband and she chose another person, how her life would have looked if she would have made different choices. Then we got the gate. Some choose to either continue on and they pass away, or some choose to return. And like my situation, some have no choice and they have to return. And oftentimes it is to complete a life mission. Something that they use is called to see whether you to measure the extent of your near death experience is the Grayson criteria. It was developed in the 1970s, and I mean, to me, it's a pretty dope list of questions, but it's not really it doesn't really confirm nor deny. It might say, I think it says if you have less than seven, then you didn't have one. But if you, I feel that if you feel and you know that you've had a near death experience and you've had one, that's the way I think. The list of questions they range from like maybe 0 to 2. Um, I am going to NDEs are an extraordinary phenomenon that has happened to people around the world since ancient times. Though the accounts are different, some of the experiences are very similar. And how can so many people around the world share such similar experiences? So I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to show y'all the gray criteria. So this is what the gray criteria looks like. And you can do this at home if you want to, ladies, if you want to participate, if you got pen and paper. I'm just gonna go through real quick and name the 16 questions, and then I'm gonna come out of it. You know, you guys can answer. And it's I think it's like 0 is no, but I'll go through them real quickly. And anybody that's out there that wants to participate, that's fine too. And I will put this website in the description as well. So the first question is, did time seem to speed up or slow down? And 0 is no. 1 is time seemed to go faster or slower than usual. Or 2, everything seemed to be happening all at once. Or time stopped or lost all meaning. 2, were your thoughts speeded up? No. For 0, number 1 is faster than usual, and number 2 are incredibly fast. Number 3, did scenes from your past come back to you? 0 for no. Number 1 is I remember my past events, and number 2 is my past flashed before me out of my control. Number 4, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? 0 for no. 1, everything about myself or others, or 2, everything about the universe. Number 5, did you have a feeling of peace or pleasantness? 0 for no, 1 for relief or calmness, or 2, incredible peace or pleasantness. Number 6, did you have a feeling of joy? Number 0, no. Number 1, happiness, or number 2, incredible joy. Number 7, did you feel a sense of harmony or unity with the universe? 0 for no. 1, I felt no longer in conflict with nature, or 2, I felt united or one with the world. Number 8, did you see or feel surrounded by a brilliant light? 0 for no. 1, an unusual bright light, or 2, a light clearly or of mystical or otherworldly origin. Number 9, were your senses more vivid than usual? 0 for no, 1 for more vivid than usual, and 2, incredibly more vivid. Number 10, did you seem to be aware of things going on elsewhere as if by extrasensory perception? 0 for no, 1 for yes, but the facts have not been checked out, or 2, yes, and the facts have been checked out. Number 11, did scenes from a future come to you? 0 no, 1 scenes from my personal future, or 2 scenes from the world's future. Number 12, did you feel separated from your body? 0 for no, 1 for I lost awareness of my body, or 2, I clearly left my body and existed outside of it. Honestly, in my situation, I didn't know I had a body. I forgot I had a body. Number 13, do you seem to enter some other unearthly world? 0 for no, 1, some unfamiliar and strange place, or 2, a clearly mystical and unearthly realm. Number 14, did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence, or hear an unidentifiable voice? Zero for no. One for I heard a voice I could not identify. And two, I encountered a definite being or a voice clearly of mystical or earthly origin. Number 15. Did you see deceased or religious spirits? Zero for no. One for I sensed their presence. Or two is I actually saw them. And finally, number 16. Did you come to a border, a point, or point of no return? Zero for no. One, I came to a definite conscious decision to return to life. Or two, I came to a barrier that I was not permitted to cross or was sent back against my will. So it says a score of higher is considered an NDE. The mean score for most people who took this, who actually had an NDE, is like the number, they'll get about 15. Uh, so the sum of all 16 items are total near death experiences, right? But these break up. Numbers 1 through 4 or a cognitive component. If you get a 5 or more on that, you had a cognitive component. If you get um, numbers 5 through 8, if you score a 5 or more, it's an effective component. Um, and then if you from questions 9 through 12, if you score 5 or more, it's a paranormal component. And then for numbers 13 through 16, the transcendental component is when you score 5 or more of those. And you can pause to look at what they mean down here. So, and that is it for our presentation on near death experiences. I'm going to come back on camera here. Did I bore you out of death? Were y'all able to stay awake during my class?
We was able to stay away.
I about to say I'm able to stay awake, but yeah, yeah, I got something to share offline because as you were talking about it, I kept seeing a vision of something that I've never
Yeah.
experienced before. So um yeah, I
Did you
should.
start medium me? Did you medium?
I believe so. I believe so, but I had like a vision of I'm gonna say an angel. I'm assuming it's an angel. I haven't had that experience before. So yeah, it was interesting. So yes, I did.
You know what's so funny, Rose? As I was reading, I saw one too, or
Yeah,
I perceived that to be.
yeah.
And they were surrounded by like really bright light.
Okay, yes. I literally
Hmm.
saw a woman with like
Hmm.
dirty blonde hair,
Yep.
but how I saw it was an angel was I literally saw like the wings, like she was standing there, but I couldn't see her face clearly. Um, but I saw like she was illuminating with light. So I can't, yeah, I can't explain it. That was a first for me, y'all. So yeah, I did go somewhere, but yeah, I saw an angel, and
I think y'all the same thing.
I never seen one before. So yeah, that was different,
Hmm.
interesting. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, and it's like I couldn't see the full body, but like the halo of light around her
Yeah,
head, and then
it
all
was
the
super bright.
wings. Just it was beautiful, but it was
Mhm.
really, really, really bright.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So, Joy, you want to share your near death experience?
yes, I think I was reliving my experience as we was going, and I did see. So, yeah, we'll come back to it. Okay. Um, I think I had two from what I recall. The earliest one was the one that I think I asked about that on one of the podcasts where I was about 2 or 3, no more than 4. Let's say where I jumped in the pool miraculously. I don't know what was happening, but from my sister's take on it is the apartments that we lived in DC, the pool did not it's in the car. The pool area didn't have like a fence or anything. So I walked out the house and just went straight to the pool. My account of that from a child is, and I always ask, I was like, do y'all remember seeing a lady? It was a I remember being under the water and nobody being around. I could breathe. I don't know what the world, but it was like this common white light. It was what I would imagine was an angel. So that's what I was seeing, kind of going back to it, and then another event that happened. Um and all I remember is them kind of being there with me. I don't know what happened in between there. I don't know if I went to the hospital or anything from that. Um, I don't know because I was so young, but that's the first event that I've always had like this vivid thing come back to me on there. My second experience was I was probably in 12, no, I had to be in 10th grade. Um 10th grade in high school. Yeah, I was really, really churchy. I'm gonna laugh when I finish telling y'all the rest of this, but I was really, really religious, with my parents being pastors and was laying in the bed. I don't know what took place. I don't remember if I had a fever or anything, but I remember going to sleep and then my body lifting up out of me while I was asleep. I remember kind of looking down at my body and it's like the roof of the house open up and I can see like everything around me. So I can see like everyone in the house. I can see my body there. I can see like the universe. And it was so peaceful. Um I never made it to the gates or anything like that, but I was just like, oh, it's my time to go. I'm finally going to heaven to be with the Lord, and things like that. But I heard a voice and it was like, nope, you're not coming yet. You got some more to do. And it's
Oh,
like I dropped it back into my body and like it dropped back into my body. Woke up, I was sweating like heck. So I don't know if I had a fever. I don't know. Again, I don't know how this transpired, but um dropped into my body. Of course, I woke up praying, went to church, went to school the next day, was like, God is coming back, because what I saw, like, oh, God, sorry, what I saw while I was there was like some destruction, like, if that makes sense. It's like I was shown like certain things. Um, I remember being shown like things I could have did different, like religious wise, look, as far as trying to get the people with the Lord and all this stuff. Like I would remember being shown this, remember being seeing myself sing on the stage when I was little. Um when I was young, I was in elementary school. I remember all that and then remember go sorry, this okay, remember yeah, just coming back in my body, going back to school and be like, y'all, I've been shown God is coming back. Y'all better get y'all lives together. This and this and this, and yeah, that was my experience. That's all I have. I think I had another as y'all was talking, but it was yeah, I have to revisit that one. I'm sorry, my candle just started not smoking, but like lifting. It's like it's drifted over this way as
we'll
I was
talk after.
talking. Okay.
Okay. Um, my near death experience, I had two. Well, nothing's helping, but my first experience, I was around maybe 20, 21. And I remember I was I had a urinary tract infection, and I was taking an antibiotic that I had taken before in the past and never had problems. So this particular day, and I had already started taking it, so I was like mid treatment, and I sat down and I had ate some food. I remember I had got some Applebee's. I'll never forget. I got they chicken Alfredo. And after that situation, I could never eat the chicken Alfredo again. Like every time I think about it, I just start itching. Like
Mm.
it brings back, my brain just scrambles when I think about Applebee's. Look, I'm itching now. Applebee's, like uh chicken Alfredo. But I took my medicine, ate the chicken Alfredo, and I was sitting there talking to my friend Brian. My friend Brian and Crystal, they were a couple. Crystal went to the store, and I was arguing with my boyfriend at the time, and he was in the back. He was in the back of the complex. So I'm sitting there, and next thing you know, I start feeling funny. And I can't explain it, but it just felt like I had like a million bugs crawling up under my skin. And
Mm.
and and I started to feel hot, like flushed. So Brian looked at me, he like, Jazz, you all right? And I was like, I don't, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I just said something's wrong. I gotta go get in the water. So my first instinct was to run and jump in the shower. So I'm ripping my clothes off, running up the stairs, and I turn on the shower and I get in the shower and I'm like screaming because my skin from head to toe, I felt like my body was on fire on the inside.
Mm.
So I had tried to like reach out the shower and calm my boyfriend at the time, but he wasn't answering my phone calls. He was mad at me because we had just had a fight. So I'm like panicking. So Brian comes upstairs and he was like, Jasmine, are you okay? And I pulled the shower curtain back, and he was like, oh my gosh, Jasmine, your face. So I go and I'm like, my face. So I go look in the mirror and I watch my face. It was just distorted and swollen. And I was like, ah. He was like, ah. And next thing I just saw my face just swell up like boop, 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 boop. By the time my face got done, I kind of looked like, you remember that episode of Martin when he was in that boxing ring and he got beat up in his face? That's true story. That's how my face looked. And then
Mm.
next thing you know, my throat started to close up. And I looked at Brian. He had already called 911. So I remember, like, he was trying to calm me down to breathe, but my throat was closing, 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 closing. So I crawled across the hallway, set up against my bed, and right when I saw the paramedic stand in my doorway, and I heard my boyfriend at the time, he was running in behind them, and he all you heard him say was my baby, and the paramedic was standing at the door. It just felt like I was panicking, I was on fire, and then it was just like a curtain closed, like, and it was
Mm.
nothing. So this near death experience was weird because I remember just floating, and it was like in this vast void. It was like nothing, but I felt like I was a part of it. Like it was all me, but I just felt like I was a part of that nothingness. I was nothing, floating in nothingness. And in that space, I knew like everything and nothing at the same time. I felt like I was home. That's what I felt like. I was at home. And I remember I was just floating there and it felt like I was just there forever, like I had always been there. And then from far, 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 far away, I saw this little bitty pin of light, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then next thing you know, I just shot forward in full speed
Mm.
and woke up in the back of an ambulance. And I remember as I shot forward to in full speed, I was fighting not to go. Like I felt myself trying to resist, but some force was just pushing me. I remember thinking like, no, 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 no. I ain't going back there. And I remember some force just pushing me. And then I woke up in the ambulance. They had to administer, I think they had me like on some type of Benadryl IV. They had administered Benadryl and they had gave me epinephrine. So
Mm.
even though I felt like I was gone forever, I was only out long enough for them to put me on a stretcher, take me downstairs and outside, and put me in the back of the ambulance because we were still in front of my apartment complex.
Mm.
So with that one, right, some years later, I thought that I was only in that black void, and I'm gonna email my teacher about this, but I'm starting to get glimpses of like maybe I wasn't only in that black void. Now I'm not sure why information was held from me, but every here and there I would be given information like, and it comes a little bit, but lately it's been coming more. Like um I remember going to this place and it was this vast library. It was like this never ending library. And when I say the books stacked up, they were like higher than a mountain. They were super high. And it was like this vast library full of like, it was like endless, full of books. And I knew a certain section was my section because something like a quilt hang in front of it, and I was able to see on this quilt like different areas of my life on this quilt, like decisions I had made, um you know, everything, like the good, the bad, and ugly. It was woven into this quilt. But the amazing thing about, I'm getting emotional, I'm sorry y'all, but the amazing thing about it was that woo, it was so beautiful. Does that make sense? So here I am thinking like my life is so jacked up. You know, my life is so fucked up because I had such a hard life and I had made so many bad choices. That quilt of all my choices I made, it was just so beautiful. And they were basically like telling me like, no, you were just you were just putting your quilt together. And you know, the finishing product is beautiful. You might not understand what you see when you have the pieces, but the finishing product is beautiful. Look at your quilt, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And they told me like you're still weaving your quilt. And behind it, I knew I didn't touch the books, but I knew by looking at the books that they were my life events. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They were
Okay.
my life
Okay.
they were my life events. And I knew that the books, which they were about my height and they just went down. And they were these thick books, but towards the bottom the books were golden. They were golden. And I also remember being in this garden, and I'll never forget because in this garden they had like flowers and plants that I had never seen in my life, and also um, colors that I cannot I can't tell you what they are. They don't exist here, but they were like the most beautiful, vibrant colors. And then in between, when they started giving me glimpses of what I saw when I was gone, I would dream about these animals. Well, these animals were there, and they're not animals that exist here. Like one was like, it was like a mix between a turtle and a platypus, but it was like an intelligent being, but it was like an animal. Like it wasn't an animal that was here. It was weird, and it was like all these different types of animals there, and they just lived harmonious in this garden. And it was just such an interesting place. And then the third place I remember is, and this is why I've become obsessed with the universe, is because I haven't received full clarity from this one yet, but they tell me it will come. I will remember, but I remember just flying full speed through the cosmos and just marveling at the beauty of it, and that even what we see, this massive universe that somehow feels never ending, it's just a little speck compared to what's really there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the I felt the vastness of what God or the creator was. It's almost if as if I went to visit. I nestled in his bosom. You know what I'm saying? And when I got there, I remember just feeling like this overwhelming feeling of love. And I cannot explain it because the love that we use here is not love. It doesn't even compare to the type of love that I was enveloped in. I don't even have I haven't had words to describe it yet,
Mm.
but I don't understand why they came to me later versus then. But I will tell you that after that situation, I started hearing voices. By this time, I had forgot that I was seeing dead people when I was younger. But this is when I started back hearing voices, and I thought maybe I was schizophrenic because I had a friend that was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and we were at a party and she was drinking and she started hearing voices. And to this day, she's on medication. She's been living in institutions. I thought that was going to be me, so I tried to hide it. But every time I went to bed, right in between that wake sleep state, I would hear people call my name. And for a while there, it sounded like something was underwater, like somebody's trying to talk to you underwater. And then, like, I don't know if you ever been swimming underwater and somebody call your name and it kind of sounds muffled. And then they started becoming clearer. And I'm like, I done lost my mind. That's the first one. The second one was kind of like yours, Joy, your second one that you talked about. This is a few years later. I was in my maybe late 20s, early 30s, and I started getting sick. I had copped a respiratory infection that I couldn't get rid of. Went to the doctor, do a whole bunch of tests, but I kept. This is right before my lupus diagnosis. But at nighttime, I would have these high fevers. It's like almost every night I would have a fever and I'll be sweating. Couldn't walk, couldn't get up, couldn't nothing. My kid's dad at the time, he would have to get up in the middle of the night, just carry me to the bathroom. I was that weak and I was that sick, but they just couldn't figure out what was going on, so they kept testing. But one night I remember being balled up in a ball. I was in so much pain and my fever was so high, like, and I was so weak I couldn't even open my mouth to tell him like I need to go to the hospital. Like I couldn't move. I couldn't even look at him and be like, "Hey, I think I need to get to the hospital now. I think I'm down." I could do nothing. I just laid there. And then next thing you know, I felt myself floating above my body. And I looked down and I saw myself balled up. And then, like you, my ceiling opened up. But what I saw was it was just a sky full of like millions of stars. It was so pretty. And I saw my body, but I didn't realize it was my body. And I thought I was just going home. And I was floating up, and then something tugged, and it tugged around my belly button area. And I looked down, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's my body." And some that tug just kind of gently pulled me down, and then I nestled back in my body. And that was it for that one.
Mm.
Hmm.
Did I talk too long? I'm sorry, y'all.
No,
No,
you're fine. Joy always apologize. Y'all fine. That's what the people here. That's what we here to talk about this time. So, what better, you know, way to have an understanding than to hear from people who've had the experience. You know. All right,
Yeah.
both y'all look like y'all just zoned out right now. Y'all good?
Well, I'm crying now. I'm trying to get myself together.
You all right?
mm,
I'm not mediuming. I promise I'm not. I'm sorry.
But one thing I will say, Jazz, when you were talking, you had asked a question. And the reason why it's coming to you now is because you are in a place where you have a better understanding of it. If you would have saw it then, you wouldn't have been so accepting or so. I'm sorry, I just heard music. Um,
Y'all, where are we?
um.
Where are we tonight?
Did anybody else just hear that? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm dead serious right now. I was the only one that heard that.
I don't hear.
For some reason, I hear like, have you ever been outside at nighttime? There's like a ton of crickets outside, and you can hear the crickets. For some reason, that's what I'm hearing. But I'm having all types of extra
That's
sensory
okay.
things going on right now.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was hearing. I was hearing like actual music. Sounded like similar to like bells. Um,
Mhm.
almost like church bells, but not church bells. I can't explain it. Okay. Yeah. That was interesting. But yeah, so that's the message that I heard when you were asking like why you didn't hear it then, or but it's like now you're at a place and you're more accepting of it because you're walking and accepting who you are as a person. So that's what I have with that. Um Rose hasn't had any near death experiences, y'all. I will say um after the transition of my mama, that was traumatic for me because that took me to a very deep, deep depression. Some gifts developed, and then this summer, and it's funny because Cleo said it when I had the call with her. Um, this summer when I had the spine surgery on my back, um, Cleo called it a spiritual attunement, and baby, she was right. That's the best way I could explain it. I don't know if it's because I went under like general anesthesia, like I was, sleep during a procedure. But since then, I've definitely have had my gifts heightened. Well, shoot, y'all just saw it on this episode. I've never seen an angel before, okay? And I was like, because it was like right here, and I was like, well, what is that? But I try to hide and be like, oh, I'll talk about it offline. But yeah, that has never happened to me. So, but in an offline conversation that we had, you know, having traumatic experiences can cause you to have your gifts heighten as well or develop or come back because you believe the theory that we are all born with gifts and we just find a way to hide from them. So I will say mine's definitely came back after my mama transition. So that's all I got. Y'all good?
Yeah. So for everyone out there, please, we would love your feedback. If you've had any traumatic um situations or traumatic events like a near death experience or something that happened that can I'm sorry, y'all. Something that happened that heightened your senses or heightened your awareness, please share it with us because we want to hear about it. If you don't feel comfortable coming on the show and you send us an email at the number 3spiritualchicks.com, I'll put it down at the bottom. Please, we would love to hear about your experiences.
Mhm.
And again, that email is 3spiritualchicks@gmail.com.
I'm putting it
Get
in
us
there
email your
now.
stories and let us know. And as we said, this is part one of a series that we're being led to do right now. So we have to listen.
I have no.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So please shoot us an email or if y'all want to come on or y'all got something you want to share. We are very interested in hearing about your experiences.
Yes, please.
And even
Mhm.
traumatic experiences. I know I read a book by psychic John Holland, and I think he was already kind of doing psychic readings, and I think he referenced, yes, it was him. He made reference to a car accident, a pretty severe car accident, and after that, his gifts heightened. So that's not
Mm.
uncommon for that to happen, for you to have more heightened gifts after like traumatic experiences. I have a friend, she'll let me share her story, but she won't come on. She was sexually assaulted. But after that, she had more heightened experiences. And this was years ago, and even though now me and her we just joke around about it, and we always say, yeah, that gave you superpowers, so that she won't be so, down about it. But look, you got superpowers, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah. All right. Do we got time to do some readings for her?
Rose tapping out for mediumship and real bad right now. I'm fighting for my life. Okay,
All right, maybe I
we
should just
almost at an hour, so
let me give one general. I'll just give one general message. One card. How about that, y'all?
you go
One
right.
general
Okay.
message. Y'all want to do that?
Sure.
Look, I got this random tarot app on my phone. You just press the card and it'll give you a card, okay?
What?
All right, what's our general message, ma'am?
The general reference message is the temperance card. Um, I'm just gonna go off the dome. So for the collective, I think this talks about balance. Balancing your emotions, balancing your work home life, balancing your relationships and friendships. There's a group of individuals out there, they're just overloaded. They're overloaded with what's going on, what they're hearing in social media, what's on the TV, what they're watching on the news, what people are telling them, what's going on at work, what's going on at home with the children and the family. It's a lot going on. And I think the message is just to take a deep breath and find a way to find your way to neutrality. Instead of being like that seesaw, just kind of finding your way right there in the middle, that little sweet spot right there. Right there in the middle is where you'll be able to handle anything that you need to handle. And also have patience with yourself because getting to this place, it takes a lot of time. I know it's the end of the year. A lot of people are depressed around this time of the year because we have lost loved ones that we can't celebrate holidays with and that we can't be with. Just balance your emotions, honor and feel your emotions. But if you have children or family that depend on you to do things for them or to be there, to be present with them, try your best to make time to do that as well.
Hmm.
Does anyone have, I got anything?
Thank y'all for
Fine.
checking us out this episode. That's all I got. When I say yeah, I'm up here right now.
My brother was about to say, find some peace. I don't know why I'm hearing like find a little peace in your life. I don't know why. That song is like playing. So find some peace, y'all.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you as always. Again, if you want to share your stories with us or you would like to come on, please email us at 3spiritualchicks@gmail.com. Peace.
See y'all later.